we call it a gateway market. Gateway markets are like Miami, San Francisco, like your
Right.
bigger markets like Chicago. And yeah, man, my career just took off from there.
No, that's dope. While you were
Smart.
speaking, I was thinking of um were you in so how did COVID affect the hospitality? Were you in there back then or no? A few years
So
back.
I so I was in Virginia at the time.
Okay.
I just got back to New York in 22.
Okay, got you.
So I got to. Oh, you asked me, did I get into the
Y-
hospitality market during COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
so I got in
because
at
I
the
would
tail
have
end of
thought
21.
at that time, right, nobody was
Hmm.
traveling, right? Everybody was hunkered
No, not at
down.
all.
So
Not
that
at all.
so did you got into hospitality at that time at when it
I got
was
I got into hospitality. I got into hospitality August of 2020. The worst year for hospitality.
wow.
The
Yeah, that's
worst,
what I was
the
about to say.
worst year. Right. So it's funny. Ironically enough, the team that I got hired on when at the can you hear me? I think I just heard something beep.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's my
So the
daughter screaming.
team. Oh, no worries, no worries. So the team that I actually got hired on as a front office manager, our job, like you said, nobody was traveling. Luckily enough, we were subsidized by the government because the military, they're still going to travel no matter what. But we still were in charge of keeping in contact with the current accounts that we had. Lockheed Martin was huge. I don't know if you remember the transition of Norfolk Southern. Remember they sold that building in
To
Norfolk, and then
Icon.
yep,
I
they
think it
sold.
changed to
Actually,
Icon.
didn't I think it was BB&T or not BB&T. It was CHKD and somebody else partnered and bought that building. I forget who the other company was. But where
Okay.
I'm going with it, we had a big contract with them because they were servicing, the transition of their employees down to Atlanta. At the same time, we were just like, hey, just reaching out to people. Hey, don't forget about us. We still have these timelines, so we're opening back up. We're trying to figure out what the contracts that we have. Because think about all the event spaces. You're signing contracts to host events. And obviously, you can't
Hmm.
host this event. So our our accounts payable and accounts receivable team was busy. We're trying to figure out, hey, are we
Get
are
some
we going to
money.
give them this right? Because here's the thing, we we're not really sitting on all our capital. So now we have to come up with capital. We have to raise capital. We have to partner with investors. We have to raise debt. We have to figure out, hey, how are we going to, for one, either issue a credit or how are we going to pay back, our biggest clients for all these room blocks that we have. So that was part of like the task force team that I was on at the time. And then, of course, the beginning of 22, restrictions were lifted. We started to see more of that travel back.
Hmm.
And our government in that area, the government was really our biggest, literally was our safe haven. We were just relying on the government at the time.
That's what's
Nice.
up.
That's dope.
Hmm.
So even like I just think about back in 2020 when things were kind of rough and like so I'm just thinking about the stock market, right? Like
Yeah,
everything was kind of like on sale, discounted,
yeah.
right? But if the company was good, right, and they held on to whatever they was trying to do and learned to pivot properly, they
Hmm.
boomed, right?
Of course.
AMD, Nvidia, a lot of the companies, Amazon, almost all the decent companies boomed. All the shitty companies,
Hmm.
we're out of here, right?
Hmm.
So I was thinking about that. And then the government, they gonna find a way to keep going, right? They gonna find a way to make things happen,
They're gonna print that
regardless
money.
of.
That's their
They gonna print
job.
that. They gonna print the money. They gonna spend the money, and they gonna
Yeah,
make some money. They don't do
of
nothing else.
course.
Right.
They don't do nothing else, right? So, how does that affect you moving forward? Like leaving Virginia, going to New York, and going into a bigger market. Things are
Yeah.
probably getting back bigger.
I mean, in a good way, of course. Bigger
Right.
market becomes bigger responsibilities, bigger accounts, bigger relationships. It's a challenge, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, you just get exposed to more. I'm
Hmm.
getting exposed to bigger accounts. I'm getting exposed to just a different, how do I say this? It's a different type of clientele that we're servicing. Also, too, just, we're closer to the asset managers because, New York City is the largest city that hosts, all corporate headquarters. I want to say it's about 75 different companies regarding like headquarters in New York City. So, of course, with our accounts, we can, take it's a train right away. If we have Citigroup, which is a client, train right away. If we need to talk to somebody regarding asset management, if we have a big delegation coming in for United Nations General Assembly, the property that I work at, we're literally a mile from there. Of course, they're going to stay with our property. So with the transition back to New York, man, it's definitely been helpful, very rewarding. And at the same time, man, I have no complaints. That's definitely how it's helped me.
Let's get into investment strategy. So
Mhm.
you're a finance guy. What would you say per your person? Again, we just not financial
Yeah.
advice for nobody. You know what I'm saying? You could
Yeah.
just talk about what you do, right?
Okay.
Work for you.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're invested in right now that you feel has the most return on investment for you, or that you're most optimistic about?
Yes, yes. So, I mean, of course, if we break it down from an industry standpoint, well, I'll personalize it. I'll go to like what I'm invested in. When I go to my long-term stock positions, I mean, we're
Hmm.
talking Apple, of course. I mean, you can't talk about a portfolio and not have Apple, Google. And the reason I'm excited about Google is just because of their, if you talk about a SWOT analysis,
Hmm.
just their strength in the market on how easily they can adapt AI, with that position. So of course, we're going to talk about
Right, that's
Microsoft at the
true.
same time. You got Microsoft,
The big wigs.
Nvidia. Yep, Nvidia. Right now, I tend to my portfolio. I break it down in three different ways. So I have my individual stock, I have options, and then I have bonds. Every now and again, I'll dip in and out of a crypto, but I would do it through futures. Ever since they released futures,
Hmm.
but I don't really hold crypto in a sense. I do believe in crypto. I do believe in the blockchain. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
It's just right now at the moment, because it's so volatile. My risk assessment, most of my volatility comes from my options trading. So I don't want to add any more volatility to my portfolio by
Right, for
using
the
crypto,
risk.
which is
Right.
why I just try to shy away from crypto. But I'm all for it. I'm all for the blockchain. It's our future, right? There
Yeah,
are a
that's
lot of
facts.
things now that would
Sure.
be more efficient if we were to adopt the blockchain. But of course, companies, more particularly investment companies, they are regulated by the FDIC, regulated by the government, so that it's kind of hindering them from fully taking on crypto.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so that's personally a little bit of what I'm invested in.
Are you looking for a media agency that covers all the creative tasks that make a business successful? Lucid Perspective produces elegant, high-resolution graphics and logos, high definition and 4K video, complete with treatment concepts and innovative editing. Lucid Perspective provides photography services such as fashion, advertisements, product or service, and aerial photography. We also help businesses build their brands from the ground up with complete campaigns that will make your business attractive to your target audience. We can bring your brand to the masses with our effective and strategic marketing campaigns to include sales funnels, eye-catching advertisements, breakthrough digital marketing through social media, and other digital avenues. Visit lucidperspective.com today. So, and I give you my personal, I have a gripe with
Okay.
stocks.
Get to it.
Yeah. So, and I don't know how you feel about it. You can tell us maybe. I used to, play around with stocks a little bit or whatever, but then when I forget what it was a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, we had the GameStop thing. I don't know if you remember the GameStop short, and everybody's buying GameStop stock to, they were pumping it up, and then
Yeah.
those investors over there on that side were losing money, and then Robinhood, Stash, and maybe some others stopped letting people purchase, and I was
Mhm.
among those. They stopped some of my purchases, and that pissed me off, and I sold everything, and I left the game, and I've
Mhm.
been sour ever since. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think? Well, at the time when they said, "Hey, this volatility, we're doing this for your protection," and I'm just like, "Bro, I'm
Mhm.
just trying to buy some GameStop stock. What are you talking about?" You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? You know what I'm saying? Like about that whole situation when that happened.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, just in my opinion, how do I say this? You felt the effects of the market, right? Like
Hmm.
that's something you are at risk of, experiencing by being in the market. I think your gripe isn't with the market. I think your gripe is really with Robinhood, and
Mhm.
Absolutely.
you're taking that out on everything else. Because if you would have had a Thinkorswim account, if you would have had a Tastyworks account, if you would have had another account who was more capitalized,
Charles
right, or
Schwab.
Charles
Also,
Schwab.
was it just Robinhood then that
Well,
was
I think
helping
there was
sales?
another. Wasn't there another brokerage account that well, let's paint the picture. Anytime volatility spikes crazy, they will hold the stock because obviously that the market isn't efficient, right?
Hmm.
But when it came to Robinhood, they couldn't fill those orders. You had people that are
Hmm.
wanting to close out, right? They had a list of orders
It
that they
was
had to fill,
pumping.
but
Yeah.
they didn't have the capital. So what do? They halt the trading. They stop people from trying to cash out their account. So it really was a Robinhood issue
Okay.
that they were undercapitalized. And I think I wouldn't say you were taking it personal because I would take it personal too.
I was
I
heated,
lost
bro.
Listen, I lost money in GameStop. I was the one short, and I'm like, no, there's no way this is gonna keep going
Oh,
up. And I
oh,
kept
you was on
shorting
that
the
side. You
hell,
had okay,
yes.
okay, okay.
But I was doing it. But I was doing it through options.
Right, right,
I
right.
was just, I was
Okay.
selling calls. I kept selling calls, selling calls. I was rolling my positions, rolling it. Like if you're down, you can reset your position. You can roll it out for a month. You can roll it out for the next couple of days. And I'm like, no, there's no way this shit is gonna keep going up. kept going, kept going. My
That's
loss
because
kept
they were
getting bigger
pumping
and
it.
bigger.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
Reddit. I think it
yeah,
was a Reddit post or something, and everybody's
yeah,
like,
Yeah,
"Hey, they over there showing GameStop. Let's pump it up."
right.